We welcome to the Only Fools and Horses podcast, Tim Keevill. How's it going?
It's Christy. How are you lot?
Yeah, very good.
Lovely, Sam, lovely.
Who's the sort?
Who's the sort? Me? Oh, me? No, you don't mean me, do you?
Yeah, obviously. No, because last time it was just the three of us, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
You mean
Yeah,
you, Emily?
Emily's
All
joining
right.
us, yeah.
Emily, right? Yeah, okay. Do you know Emily's my
Hi.
most favourite name?
Pardon?
Emily's my most favourite name.
Oh, is it? So's Dell.
You need a splash of this on Tim, don't
I
you?
need to ask him. Yeah, Splash of Brute, Knock and Bandy.
Yeah.
And Black Magic.
Yeah, I need someone out of and whip it round her.
So you run Only Fools and Horses events. Tell us about your latest event that's coming up.
Yeah, it's in Bristol where they did the filming from 1988, and it's in the Honours Manor Hotel on Sunday the 16th of April. There's only about 20 tickets left, or just less than that, I think now. If anybody's interested, go on the podcast page, look down a few of the adverts, and you'll see it all on there. Easy to book, just go straight online. But it was actually filmed at that hotel. Sorry, it's at that hotel, and they did quite a bit of the filming at that hotel. They did the episode Chain Gang, where they met they met Arnie in the that was obviously the set when it was in the casino. But when they walked down the steps into the car park, because that was at the back of the hotel, used to be the nightclub. They did a lot of the nightclub scenes in there. And then when they met him in the Jag, that was in the car park as well. And also when in Danger UXD, when Cassandra said, "Watch out for unexploded dolls or blow up dolls," and she was telling him about it, and he was trying to make out he didn't know anything about it. He said, "Oh, I got to go." And he said, where do we get those smackers from?" That was in the same place, and we're actually in that room where that was filmed is actually where it's going to be held. So it's quite cool. It's quite cool because it's part of the actual filming of it, where it was filmed, you know.
Brilliant. Am I right in thinking? I might have imagined it. Is the flooring still the same?
You got the red tile floors. All they've changed where the conservatory bar is, they've just changed the door in. It used to be flat, and they've got it going out a bit now. That's all. But it's apart from that, it's exactly the same.
Wow.
That's amazing. That, and it's like 35-year-old flooring still down. That's quite unbelievable.
I used to live about a mile and a half up the road from there, and I used to actually work in that club. Unfortunately, I wasn't working there when he filmed it. I was working there a little bit earlier because I was so old, you know. But I remember it in great detail. And you'd go in. It was a fantastic place. You'd go in over where those tiles are, and you walk down into this really fantastic wine bar, and they have a restaurant part then up on the left, and they had two nightclubs at the back called the Parkside, and you go in and they'd be like under sort of 30s on the one side and then over 40s on the other side, so they catered for everything. It's a real shame that they haven't opened it back up. I don't know why, but you know. But yeah, it was fantastic time just to go there regular. It was really good, and I used to work there as well.
Wow, unbelievable.
And just while you were sorting out your audio, we were looking in the flat, like at all of your memorabilia, and I spotted Grandad's hat on your chair. Is that right?
Yeah, minus the feather.
Yeah, minus the feather. Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah,
I couldn't find one with the feather, but I suppose I could get one and just stick it on. I suppose.
I was going to say that can't be the real one. It went in the grave, but it didn't go in the grave, did it, Grandad's Trilby? It was the Vicar's, wasn't it?
It was the Vicar's, yeah. Has anyone seen my face?
Such a great gag.
She was far too young to remember any of this.
No, I remember all of it.
You must have been watching it when you were a baby.
Yeah.
It's been on a few times since, though, hasn't it, to be fair? It's been on a few times since.
Yeah, about a million times on gold.
So
Yeah,
when is the
that's
event, Tim? April, isn't it, the event?
Yeah, it's less than 3 weeks now. It's 2 weeks on Sunday, April the 16th. And there's no rooms left in the hotel, but you're welcome to book online, or if you want to come along on the day, you can pay on the day. We've got, as you know, we've got two of the actors there. We've got Philip Pope and obviously Tony Angelino, and then we've got Michael Fenton-Stevens, who played Alan Perkins from The Unlucky Winner as well. Plus loads of other stuff going on. Trigger lookalike. You went to the one in Swansea, didn't you?
I've not been one. No, I've not. I didn't.
You went to the one in Swansea, right? Well, that's brilliant. We've got the full flat. You've seen all the pictures and the videos.
Yeah.
We've got the full flat set up. people have said it's just as good, if not better, than the original one that they've got at the appreciation site, because that's a bit worn out now, to be honest. And then I've got the obviously
Cut that bit out.
yeah, take that bit out. It's just my little. That's just my little bit. But no, it's no, I mean, it's all fantastic. I mean, that's where I got the idea from, obviously. But yeah, and I got the wine bar where they fall through competitions and stuff, and I got the usual sort of stuff, really. But it's just a fun day out, really. It's different. It's different to what they do, because they've got all the actors, and it's all like aimed around that, really. But mine's just a fun day, and like I said, the first two sold out, and we didn't have any actors there. Just had a couple of lookalikes, and they sold out, and it was fantastic. Fantastic day. It's just a bit of fun.
And you've actually got a chance to get a ticket to your event, so
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's because David didn't make it, see, unfortunately.
We actually got Philip Pope back on the map, and Chris will tell you the story, didn't we, Chris? Philip Pope, we got out of retirement, didn't we?
Yeah, during lockdown, we interviewed him, and we were talking obviously about choiring and Tony Angelino, and we all said, you should do it. And he was like, I've never sung it ever again. You know, it was a I said, did you never do it at karaoke? Or he said, no, never. And I said, people would pay good money for that. And I saw him recently in Eastbourne, because he was doing this event with Daniel Peacock and Fenton Stevens. And he said to me, God, Chris, that was a good thing you told me. I was like, yeah.
Well, true story. We did the one in Swansea a year ago in March, and we booked this private little corner of this pub miles away, and there was a load of us went there, including all the actors as well, because at the time as well we had Javon and we had Mental Mickey as well, so it was the four of them, and we basically went there, and they had a karaoke on, and we sort of talked him into getting up. And Ed, you know Ed Morris, he had the wig and the glasses, and as he started to sing, you've seen the video in the pub, he put them on him, and he did fantastically. The woman didn't really know what she was doing, she didn't have a clue, because I don't think she knew the song, and I don't think she never watched Only Fools and Horses, to be honest. But afterwards, we were speaking to him afterwards in the bar, and he said to me that apart from when they actually recorded it, that was the very first time with us that he'd actually done it live, ever, and never sung it again. So, and then of course everyone jumped on the bandwagon, but I was the first man.
You were the pioneer. You were the trailblazer, weren't you? Yeah.
But it was all good anyway, and we all got drunk because they gave us a load of free booze, and it was a really good night.
Nice. Yeah, it was.
I think
that was the night before the event, so we were a bit sort of worse for wear.
Imagine.
It was.
Have you who haven't? I was going to say who have you met, but who haven't you met? Have you met most of the actors, Tim? Would you say, or over your time, or not?
Yeah, well, the very first one I went to, I wasn't interested years ago in the one where you queue up. You know, you have to queue up for ages and pay a fiver. Yeah. That to me wasn't really a thing, and I never thought I was ever going to go to one. But then in 2016, they did the very first one in this format, and it was superb because they did the VIP ticket. Where you on the Saturday night, there was only about 20 of us, and we all sat with all the actors. We had a lovely 3-course meal, bottles of wine, and they were all getting everyone got a bit drunk, and John was telling us all these stories, and Cassandra was telling us all these stories, and it was a really, really good sort of intimate night, and it was fantastic. And then since then, the only other one I went to was the one last year, purely because David Jason went. I managed to get a ticket, luckily. So that was the icing on the cake for me. I'd done that one. So yeah, in my eyes, the 2016 one was the best one without David Jason, because it was fantastic, and they did this VIP night. And then the one last year with David Jason was the icing on the cake. But I've done it now. I don't usually do it. So
yeah,
but
I bought the t-shirt.
Yeah.
So the only people I didn't see were obviously the people who passed before, like I'd love to have supervisor Lloyd Pack and that, and obviously Mike, but obviously they died like a few years before. So
I did luckily meet Kenneth MacDonald in a the first convention in 1998. I think it was at Brentwood, Essex. It was on a car park, Tim. So that's how it's grown over the time. It was her voice who were there. But we actually met Tim just before you had one of the greatest moments of your life. You were in the queue to meet David Jason, and that's when we were chatting. I was in this.
Sorry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I've been so busy with everything. I see so many people.
No, we were. I was chatting about you. Well, leads us on nicely. I was chatting about your tour that you do. So talk about your tour that you do around Bristol.
Yeah, well, the tour is amazing because they've had the one on the coach for a number of years now, and it's quite a bit cheaper than mine, but it's only on a coach. So you go with like 30 other people, and they park the coach because they can't get sort of close really to where, because there's quite a lot of tight areas on that. They can't really park the coach in a lot of places. They park outside Boyce's house a bit, but you have to get out. You have to walk, and it's a load of you, and it's a bit like you can imagine it would have been like the ethnic tours with a load of Chinese people following you around and stuff like, you know. But with me, I thought, well, I have to charge the money because I got to take it from Wales on the trailer and all the rest of it. But 4 of us in the trotter van, and we go all the places that the coach can't go. We actually put on outside the Sainsbury's, right where they broke down in Broadmead. It's like the exact spot, just as Batman and Robin, and they get out and they do the scenes, and they do all that sort of stuff. And running down the street, Councillor Murray, and loads of others, like 15 to 20 different places we go. It lasts about 4.5 hours, and that's an amazing thing to do. It's like it's a VIP tour, but it's not cheap because it is my time. Personally, I think it is quite reasonable because it's the same price as if you hired my van for 2 hours and you get the whole thing. So yeah, you know, that's going quite well.
So how many sort of places would you probably visit you'd visit the flats, presumably, would you, in Bristol?
Yeah, well, there's those places. I mean, we actually start at the hotel. That's literally, we pick up from Temple Station, start at the hotel, and then it's sort of like you just sort of go around really, and then you go to the nightclub, the 121 Club on Welshback, which they didn't realise when they did the filming, they left the Welshback sign in. So anybody who knew their history would know that it wasn't in London. And then literally 50 yards around. I mean, you've obviously been there, haven't you?
I've not been. All right,
it was so.
It's on the to-do list.
Well, you know where I am. You know, and then it was so clever the way they did the filming, because literally you had the front of the casino here, and then at the back of the building was where they filmed him when he went into the downstairs in the bar when he was winding up Rodney, saying about, oh, you know, you're going to school and all this sort of thing when he met Cassandra, and then
falling through the bar. The outside where just before he falls through the bar. The
outside where he goes up the steps, literally at the back of that, and then opposite where that was, literally from like 10 yards away, was the entrance to where he walked up the steps to the evening school. So, and everything was so close by, and like the flats and Boyce's garage, they were all like so close, and loads of other places so close, you know. Very, very good.
No, definitely have to do that. Have you got much availability on that this year left?
Yeah, quite a few weekends. I've got a few booked, but there's a lot of other, I do a lot of weddings and stuff as well. So it's 300 quid, which sounds a lot, but when it's 3 of you, it's £100 a piece. Yeah. And if you're actually in the van, and it's the whole, I mean, everyone that's gone on it has had a fantastic time. I did the coach tour first, and it was good. It was all right. But
you wanted to do something more intimate, like
you
were saying
exactly.
earlier, really.
Basically the VIP tour, and I thought, well, you know, if you're going to do it in style. And everyone all the people that have done it, they've absolutely had a ball. And quite a few people have gone on the original one and then come to me, and they said they were happy to pay the extra, like, you know. So but you need 3 people really to make it.
You'd want to go in the freewheel van, wouldn't you? Definitely.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes,
there's a lot more places you can go, and like I said, they used to park miles away, and you'd have to walk to the places, you know. And I have a tablet inside as well that actually plays each scene as we're approaching it. So we actually
great.
get to the scene,
so you can relive it.
So you're reinventing it. Like it's really, really good.
You can picture it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and people can tour around show us around the flat in a second, Tim. But people can actually visit your flat as well, can't they? Is that right?
They can. Well, it's not really the flat because obviously it's in my house. So I basically got a room. I don't know if I can take this off.
Yeah, let's have a look.
You can. I don't know if you just. I can't see what I'm doing here, but basically, I'll start here. Like you've got Batman. You got all this sort of stuff. You got the chains and that.
Oh, you've paused for some reason. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay.
Go back to Batman again, Tim. You paused then. Sorry, we didn't see the change.
Okay.
Go back to that's it, Batman. Yeah, and then we paused.
So you got Batman, and then you've got all bits and pieces. You've got the boxes.
I love the chains.
Yeah.
That looks so real.
With the money. And then you've got the crash turbans.
Wow.
More stuff. And then I've got, this took me a long time to find, but I've got the watch and the check,
Wow.
and then loads of other bits and pieces. And then I got the dipstick Robin. And then it's like the room, and then you've got so you've got like the money and all that sort of stuff. And then you've got
Those old
pictures.
£50 notes. Yeah.
Very hard. Yeah, that's £10 notes. They are.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, tens. And then you got like the pictures are very this horse one that was in a few episodes is very, very difficult to find. Everyone's got the elephant pictures, you know.
Yeah, I don't recognise the horse one. It was only in a couple of episodes, was it?
It was only a couple of the early ones, yeah.
Yeah, I don't recognise it.
But,
I think Anorak me. I think it was into Hullenbach episode as one that I would guess. I think maybe
it might have been, yeah. So obviously there's the bar, there's the chandelier.
Oh, wow.
I don't guess the baby trotter's name.
Louis the 14th, is it that? Is it Louis the 14th, that chandelier? Yeah.
I think it's 15th, that one.
15th.
We got the helmet there, obviously the deep sea diver's helmet. Golden ball, boxer shorts. The no waiting sign, which I took 2 years to find. That's from 1947 and impossible to get hold of now.
Joking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then you've got like sort of independent traders.
Radio Times.
Financial Times for my birthday, so that's quite cool.
Wow.
1927 did it say on that?
So again,
did it say 1927 on that Financial Times? The day of your birthday, did you say?
1925. Saucy git.
I was just looking.
And the good thing about this, I mean, I've had people travel from London all that to come here. I mean, super fans. It's been mental. They come on a train, but it's actually a bargain because it's 25 quid a person, minimum 2 people. But you get to come to the flat, have all your photos taken, and you actually get to have an hour in the. The whole thing's an hour, and you get to go in the van as well for 25 quid. It's an absolute bargain.
It does sound very good, yeah.
Sounds really good.
Tim, I've got to ask you while you're here, where did you get the curtains from?
I had them professionally made because I spent 2 years trying to find the original ones, and no, it wasn't. So, cost me an absolute fortune, over £400 rather than made up.
Wow, they look like the original though. So they look like the original. So
yeah, well, that's the closer you get. I mean, they give them to me with just the patterns on, and then I had to get a black pen. It took me about 3 hours to put all the little dots in on every flower, and I did that myself. But yeah, everybody said it's really good. So the thing is, I was doing the event, and I wanted to make it look as good as possible, you know.
Yeah. And the cookie jar, is that original or is that a copy? Or
oh no, it's an original one. It's not from the show, but it's mint, and there's not even any glazing on it or anything. Most of them have got the slight cracking on the glazing, but that's like as mint as you can. Like the day it come out the factory, that one is. Yeah, so I quite enjoy that one.
What was you going to say, Emily?
Sorry, go on.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, it's all right.
I was going to say they were quite commonplace.
Pardon?
You never let the women speak. What were you going to say?
I can't remember. Is that Peckham Spring? That bottle there?
Yeah, that's one that I actually made up. Because the plastic didn't look as good. So I got as close as a bottle as I could. So yeah, I made that one up.
That's good though.
And I got the light. And I got the lights up as well. Yeah, the piece. So.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you've not got, Tim? What's the one item prop that you haven't got that you'd like? Is the one on the
lampshade
you need?
The lampshade. The brown and yellow lampshade.
You've got my hat then.
Well, he didn't have that in the flat, did he? So
I suppose not. No, I won this at a raffle. So
a lot of people say, "Phil, you need this, and this." I'm like, yeah, but they were never in the flat. So I tried to just, I tried to do the stuff that was mainly in the flat. Really,
you've only got so much room as well. So
yeah,
and so much money, as you know, it costs an absolute fortune. Thousands of pounds. All this cost me like fortune.
When you say the lampshade, it was like a bit like the curtains in terms of pattern, wasn't it? It was like brown and yellow, was it? Is that the lampshade?
And it had this weird, like orangey sort of yellowy flowers, and I tried to find something as close as to get to it, but no.
could make one of them because they're not. The pattern wasn't complex, was it? The pattern on it. Could you not make one of those? Or
Well, if you had the original one, you could take it down there. But I did take it to a guy with a blow up of the actual photo of it, and he said he couldn't work it off it. So,
really?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
shame.
So I just got the yellow one now, but it doesn't. You can't, can't have everything.
I can see the Save Wales
Yep.
money pot as well. That's a very funny scene, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's been naughty with that because I bought one off the original guy and then I photocopied all the labels off and I sell them myself now. And I find out where you buy the pots from, so I sell hundreds of them a year. That's quite good.
I've had one of them. I've had one of them off you.
Yeah, not bad, are they?
They're good. Good. Did you sell the to Hull and Back diamonds as well? No.
No.
That was it.
No, it's a different guy. I can't remember who that was now.
Yeah. I've got. I mean, obviously, I've got a bit of a collection as well. The gun's great, isn't it? I've got one of the gun lighters on the bar there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I'd
did
like
work.
the dogs.
The other day. It didn't work for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh. I haven't got the dogs actually. The dog. What would the dog breed be there on the bar?
There's two of them, yeah.
Yeah, dog ornament.
The booze pound.
Oh no, I've got that one. The dog's in your bar though. In your bar.
They're facing the opposite way, the dogs.
Oh yeah, the dogs. That's. I've got two large ones and two smaller ones. They were often just in and around the flat on different shelves and things like. I got four. I got different sized ones. I have.
So what's your?
I'm trying to find them. Go on.
So what's your favourite item? Your favourite item in the flat?
It's two. It's the bar, which is super rare to get hold of, and obviously the cookie jar. Oh, and the dog as well with the wig on. So that's my top three.
I knew it'd be hard to choose one.
Yeah, that's my top three.
Show us the dog, Tim. I've not seen the dog. That's off Three Men, a Woman, and a Baby. Is it that the dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Neil Ruffle's got the proper one, but I spent a long time looking for it. But
Oh yeah. Oh wow, yeah.
With the wig as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to get balls. We're going to do the Bruce Willis look. And he keeps forgetting as well, so it's definitely Bruce Willis. I shouldn't have said that really.
Favorite episode? Would you say? Favorite episode?
3 again. Danger UXD, to Hull and Back, and probably the Chandelier one.
Really?
That one.
Where would Jolly Boys Outing feature in your?
Oh, sorry,
top 10?
not the Chandelier one. Jolly Boys Out in Hull and Back, and the
Danger UXD.
Yeah. They're my best three.
It's kind of impossible, isn't it? We're going to do that one day, aren't we? Like rank every episode. It's going to be, it's going to be so hard.
It's really
I
difficult.
think the only one I never watched is The Russians Are Coming. I didn't think that was a very good episode. I think the writing on that was a bit poor, but that's me, that was.
It's just very different because then they're only in one place for a long time, aren't they? The bunker, the nuclear fallout centre, they're there for a long time. I enjoyed it. It was different, but
Yeah, it was
I know
different. But out of all of them, I'd say that was. But I mean, a lot of people slag off the last three, the very last ones. But I think they were brilliant, to be honest.
Yeah,
really,
me too.
And bear in mind, he'd been going for so long, and he did so many episodes. It was up until then, it was like 60-odd episodes. How do you still keep coming up with such fantastic writing? Yet they still manage to do it. So,
Definitely.
Hold it off.
Definitely.
So how long have you been doing the events for?
Well, I've had the trotter van I've had for 7 years, and then I had the idea of the events during lockdown, because I couldn't work, so I thought, well, what are we going to do? And I'd already started buying all of the props. So what happened? Luckily, I don't live with the missus, so she didn't have a say on it. So the house I was in before, we had a bit of money off Boris. I thought, so I just started. I wasn't doing a lot of work, so I just started looking on eBay as you do, and then said, I buy that and I buy that. And before I knew it, within about 6 months, I suddenly had a room like this, not as good as this, but in my house. And I had boxes brought to ceiling, and it was a much smaller house than where I am now. And the missus would come in and say, "No, this is getting bloody ridiculous." So basically, I just decided, well, you know what, just go buy the stuff, build it all, put everything in there, and I got the van. I thought I got everything that I need now for doing an event, and I had a light bulb moment, and that was it. So the first one was in August 2020, and so we did one in August, and then we did the Christmas with the Trotters in Swansea, which is fantastic, Christmas theme. And then we did Swansea last March. We couldn't do the Blackpool one because I don't know why, but there's just no money up north at all. I booked the hotel. It was right on the promenade. I had 5 actors going to be turning up. Tickets didn't sell. I had to cancel it. And I was really disappointed about that because it would have been a fantastic one.
I was going to go to that one, but I had family problems, so I didn't go.
That's the one I would have gone, actually, Blackpool. But the reason I've not been Bristol, it's quite far. But I want to go. I'm keen to go. Yeah,
I mean, I honestly thought I would have sold 250 tickets within a couple of months, especially Blackpool. It was in the summer. It was right on the promenade in Blackpool. I mean, you know, and there was just no interest. So, mad.
Did you, while we're on, Tim, me and you message each other, and I'm up for doing it. I've mentioned it to Chris and Emily, getting all the trotter vans to meet in Bristol at some point for charity or something. You still up for doing that? Yeah. I don't know when. I'd messaged people, and then I've been a bit sidetracked lately, but I am sort of keen to still do it. I think Bristol, you'd be the man to guide us there, really, wouldn't you? Where Bristol would be the place, and where to go, where to meet, etc. Wouldn't you?
We'd go back all the filming locations. It'd be perfect, wouldn't
it? In convoy sort of thing. Yeah, it'd
be cool.
Yeah, we could have a bit of a beauty pageant, couldn't we? Where, you know, I don't know, best original, you know, bit of fun, best original van, you know, best interior, you know, all that business.
They'll be kicking off there, mate. You know this, like.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Like a scooter rally.
I don't know what there could be a world record. I bet, you know, what's the world record for so many trotter vans in one place? You know, not Regals, but actually, you know, done up like Del Boy. We'd probably break a record, wouldn't we, if we got about 30 vans
probably would. Yeah, especially, well, I mean, we'd be the only ones doing it, going around the area, wouldn't we? They're doing the thing, so you could bring them up and get the Guinness Book records. But they probably have a record for that, mind.
Perhaps get a few Capris there, but the only guy I know with a Capri, I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning him, John Jones Trotter's got a Capri. You must know John, do you, as well?
Yeah, I think he's got it in that. I think he's got it in the Hugged Away with the van, hasn't he? He's got the original van and the original Trotter Capri, hasn't he? So I think he's in a museum now, so I can't imagine he's going to get that and want to drive it back.
I don't know. I think I met him end of the year before last, and he got the Capri and the van with him then. So
he bought the garage door as well, didn't
he? Yes, I think he did, didn't he? Yes, that was on. It was on Antiques Roadshow, wasn't it? That
I think it was. Yeah. I think he must have known Councillor Murray. I think she done him a bit of a favour then.
I'm not sure. You're right that the guy who owns the garage door from the show and the original Capri, but that's not John. John's not got an original.
No, that's not John, is it? No, I can't remember the guy's name now. Because he paid for his son on his birthday to come on my tour with his missus, and he had a fantastic time.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but he's got the original ones and the door.
Yeah,
and he's got in like a museum place somewhere, like, you know. And he's also got, I think he's got one of Diana's cars, Princess Diana's cars. And he's got Mr. Bean car. He's got a massive collection. Yeah.
That was good in the day, wasn't it? Do you ever go? I don't know if Chris or Emily went. Might be before their time. But Cars of the Stars Museum in Keswick. That had loads of different cars there, didn't it?
Never been there. Always wanted to go. Never been there.
Yeah, brilliant. You know, you name it. Like you say, a Del Boy, a Knight Rider, 18 van, James Bond cars, Mr. Bean, Herbie. You name it, it was there.
Yeah.
But the guy, the guy from Keswick was a dentist. I think his name was Peter something. I think it was Peter. And he bought the trotter van for £1,000, would you believe? One of the real trotter vans for £1,000.
Wow.
Then they did an episode. It probably was the Christmas trilogy of '96, and the BBC said, "Can we borrow the van?" And he said, "Yeah, you can have it for £1,000." He said, you know. And then I think the story goes, I'm pretty sure it was the one that was sold at auction at Sotheby's. It might have been, I think it was Sotheby's in 2007, about 43 grand. So he bought it for £1,000, got his grand back, and then sold it about 40 odd grand years later.
Yeah, I mean, that was
The one
cheeky to ask for £1,000 because he must have known it would, make it a lot more valuable. But yeah, clever.
I know the van. I know the van, which was crazy price. The one that sold up at the what's the Silverstone auction? They have the one that was sold there like 4 or 5 years ago, made over 40 grand, and that made over 40 grand. And it had only been in the Ucky Street magazine, one of the Ucky Street magazines. It wasn't even on the TV, and that was only a replica, and that made 43 grand. Crazy money. I bet the guy was rubbing his hands together. Unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely.
We've said before, if you had a time machine and you could buy all the trotter vans, you'd be a millionaire, wouldn't you? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I wish when I bought the van, I wish I'd done this thing with the events. I wish I'd done it 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I got in it a little bit too late at the end. Of course, everyone's skipped now as well, and they were all price of living going up and everything.
Yeah.
That's David, Jason, and then nobody skipped anyway. Just put up their credit cards. That's what I did.
That was amazing. Did you hear recently about David Jason? And he's been reunited with his daughter after 52 years. Wow, amazing.
It's crazy. I mean, everyone's saying, "Oh, it's fake and everything," but you only got to look at her. She's got the same mouth, same nose. You know.
Yep.
You don't need DNA for that one, do you?
And she's a pretty girl.
Yes, she's a pretty girl. Yeah, that episode, Happy Returns, wasn't it, with Debbie?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Really good. Yeah, really good.
Great episode that. We spoke to Debbie, didn't we, Emily? Una Cursed. Yeah, that was in lockdown.
It's lovely.
Yeah, nice lady.
Lovely. Yeah.
So what?
She's
apart from, hey,
she's thinking of stuff to ask.
Yeah, go on, Emily.
I'm thinking. You go first. I'm thinking.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. What was you going to say?
Can't remember now. I was going to say about your favourite episodes. You've said your top 3, but give us a couple more that you really like.
Oh, everyone's sleeps the Royal Flush, but I think it's a brilliant episode. I think it's a brilliant episode. It just goes to show how versatile Dave Jason is as an actor to be able to turn it on and play that real nasty side, And it made a nice change because he was always a bit sort of, and it was the one where he completely turned it on his head and basically ruined Rodney's life, which is Rodney had his life ruined on every episode, but that was especially bad. But I like that one. A lot of people slate it and slag it off, but I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I think
the hang gliding one when it went on holiday.
Oh yeah,
it's just it goes on forever, doesn't it? The one with the shadow in it. I mean, they're just awesome, isn't they?
They're timeless, aren't they? All of them, really. I mean, even some of them that they say aren't very good, you watch them again and you think, well, actually, that's very funny. Like you said with the last 3, they get slated, but I thought they were very good. When you rewatch them, you're like, oh, wow. You laugh at them.
Yeah, you think, oh, they're nowhere near as bad as what people stay, so, yeah.
Yeah. But with that, the Royal Flush episode, what was the name of the actress we spoke to, Chris? She was Lady Victoria, wasn't she? I can't remember.
Yeah, Victoria. Sarah someone, wasn't it? Sarah
Dawson? Sarah, I should remember.
Sarah Duncan.
Duncan, that's it. Dawson, Duncan,
I couldn't believe it as well. She looks almost a bloody saint. It was incredible, really.
Yeah.
She'd already aged.
But she thought it didn't have the twist at the end like they normally would. I think that was the criticism she had. She said she loved the episode, but she thought at the end they didn't have a twist. But, just opinion.
A lot of fans don't like Del in that. A lot of fans don't like Del Boy at the end because he sort of throws Rodney under the bus a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, but it was different. His character was completely different, out of character to what he normally was. So I think he must have just had a bit of a dark side on him when he wrote it. I think he's put a bit of darkness in there. I think. So I think to shock people more than anything as well. Yeah, the shock factor that one was.
What about Miami Twice then? What do you think of that? Some people love it, some people don't.
Love the first one, but then when he went to America, hated it. I don't know why. I can't watch it. I can't watch it. I don't know what it is. They did their best with it, but it just didn't work. Because I guess it was. I don't know. It was. I think the storyline was so ridiculously far-fetched.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Yeah.
His accent was a bit. His accent was a bit iffy, but no, it was alright. But what can you do in it? I mean.
Yeah, it has to go further, doesn't it? You can't just, if you stay there, you've got to keep going. And
course, yeah. And
I liked it because I like my mafia films and gangster films, so I found it funny. I'm not saying it's one of my favourites, but I would say I found it amusing, you know.
And last year I met Rico as well. What a lovely guy he is. You had him on here, didn't you?
Oh, that's one of my favourites. Wasn't it great, Emily?
Fantastic guy, lovely guy.
Yeah, he's brilliant, wasn't he? I was just about to say that. I'm going to apologise to our friend Antonio Caroni.
Our friend.
Yeah.
Friend of ours.
My favourite bit on our podcast with him was Antonio. He goes, "What is a plonker anyway?" So I had to say, "Well, it's a man's private parts." He's like, "Oh wow!" He didn't know what a plonker was. To be fair,
No.
Yeah, but he's a great fella. He's a great guy, isn't he? I met him like you. I met him last year, Tim. Yeah,
he was the one this year as well, wasn't he? Again,
he was.
Yeah.
But that was a great one because we did it on Zoom as well, and he wasn't he in Florida, and it looked like the Everglades. It was, honestly, the backdrop. It was like.
Well, do you remember he took a phone call as well? Do you remember who was on the phone to him?
It was one of the actors, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the guy that owned the restaurant. When,
all right, yeah.
You know, with the moustache at the beginning, Del was going to hit him, wasn't he? When he's like kisses his hand, doesn't he? And Del's ready to think, "Who's this?" You know. And, he was on the weird that he took the phone call. Said, he was in the show with me. So, but I think for him, he wouldn't have known much about Fools and Horses back then, would he?
No, I wouldn't have
He'd
known.
been like, but I think he's done quite well, hasn't he? He's had quite a good career.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think he's, as an actor, I think he could have done a lot more. There's an awful lot of people that are in films that you think, well, why are they in all these films? They're bloody rubbish. You know what I mean, and he was really good, very versatile. Because he was in Jim Carrey as well, wasn't he? Ace Ventura, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
But I think he's done TV, a lot of American TV, not just the films, which we wouldn't really know about because we don't really see that, do we?
No, yeah, you're right. It's like our TV; they don't know a lot about it, and we don't know a lot about their TV back then, anyway. Unless it was a huge show. Like Dad.
I've never had a weird comment. The day you went, Tim.
About 5 channels, I think, then. So about 5 channels on Sky, I think, when I was made.
Yeah. The day you went to the convention.
Yeah.
When I went, you obviously met the same actor as me. The weird not the weird conversation I had, but it was Christopher Ryan. I didn't speak to him about Fools and Horses at all because he's Mike and the young ones, wasn't he? So I found myself having quite a conversation about the young ones with him.
Yeah.
I think
people age, but he has aged. He's been nothing on a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah. He'd be Tony. Would he be in Tony, the little one, wouldn't he? The Driscoll brothers. Tony, I think he was. Danny was the big one.
He's got to be 80, late 70s. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd say about early 70s. Yeah,
but they all have. You don't realise until you see the pictures from the convention how old they are because you watch them on TV all the time, didn't you? And you think they still stay that age, and they don't. Obviously, but
right. Yeah. Well, Roy Marsden played Danny Driscoll. Am I right? Was it Roy Marsden?
Yeah.
The tall one.
Yeah.
Now there's a link to Buster. You tell a story if you know it, Tim. There's a link between Buster Merrifield and Leonard Pierce. They're in an episode of what's it called? A Shroud of a Nightingale, aren't they? An episode of that?
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I've heard that they were in an episode together. Yeah, years before. Yeah.
Yeah, and Roy Marsden played the policeman. I don't know what the series was called now. I want to say Z-Cars, but I don't think it was Z-Cars, was it? I think I'm totally wrong there. Roy Marsden was the policeman, and they're never seen together on this particular episode, are they? But they're both actually in the episode. Yeah.
And it's mad to think that at the time they did, because that was before he was in the. That was before even before Leonard was in Only Fools and Horses. Must have been in the 70s, was it?
Yeah, I don't think it was much before. You know, like you say, 70 might have been late 70s sort of thing. Yeah, it was a couple of years before. Yeah. So I think they did have I think Buster's said about it. They did have a conversation on set. Yeah, Shroud of the Nightingale, I think it's called. I'd love to see the footage.
He'd been a bank manager, and then he started getting. That was one of his first things he'd done as an actor. And then he hadn't done hardly any acting, and then he got cast perfectly, obviously, for Uncle Albert. So, and everyone says about this debate who's better, Uncle Albert or Grandad. You can't say because Grandad was only in for a couple of years before he died. He was only in for 3 years, and then
it's like asking who's your favourite child. I think that, isn't it? In a way.
It's interesting though. They said the series where Leonard Pierce sadly died, that John Sullivan wrote that series for him. I wondered if it would be similar to Uncle Albert or not, or would it have been totally different? We don't know that, do we?
No,
Well,
we don't.
apparently, before Grandad died, he actually filmed is it the Hole in One when Albert
when he-
falls through the
yeah. They were halfway through filming it when he died, so they had to
Yeah.
get him in and change it. They had to put
Ma-
that one on hold. Yeah, they put that one on hold, then they brought the one in with the funeral. They did that first, and then I think the next one was Hole in One.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's very
I'm
hard,
happy
isn't
with-
it, to choose between them? I don't know. Me personally, if I had to make a choice, I think Albert's funnier, but I love Grandad more. So it's kind of like that. If I'm being honest, but I love them both. They were both fantastic.
I can't split them. I think they're both as good as each other. I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you.
I think Albert had more funny moments, but Grandad would have these one-liners that would just you could just say one thing, and that would be it, wouldn't you? You'd be in hysterics. So
Like the Wendy.
Well, Wendy House is because David Jason said that whenever they did something that the audience would laugh, they'd say that was a Wendy. They'd call it a Wendy. So they
Or
said
40.
they spent 5 minutes chatting, and then he said one word or a couple of words, and he said, and they were trying to get laughs, and no one laughed at him. He said that one thing, and the whole place went up. It's just hysterical, It's brilliant.
They always say about series 4, Tim, as well, that obviously it was written for Leonard, wasn't it? That's pretty. We've just covered that, but Buster doesn't move around much in that series, so you can almost see that it's written for Leonard, can't you? Buster's more active in later series, isn't he? If you look at it and analyze it, obviously that was written for Leonard, so Buster's not quite as he sits down a lot in series. I know it's a bit anorak here. He sits down in series 4 quite a bit, but after that he's a bit more mobile. Grandad's not mobile, is he? Really? If you think.
Yeah, that's been written for Leonard, so he has to go.
Especially when he does his boxing scene, Trotter's Trembler.
Trotter's Trembler.
7 buggers.
Yeah, 7. I kept going up, didn't it? I think when I think of Albert, I think of that Rodney Come Home in the flat, isn't it? When you act shocked and he's like,
A girl.
So good.
Yeah.
My favourite.
I don't know how many times he cut it, but you could see he was like almost bursting into laugh, and how he kept it in is incredible. But the timing was so good. And
it makes it more funny.
He pans around to Rodney, and he's just so deadpan. And I'm like, how is he not laughing his head off? He must have done a few takes on that. He must have done.
My favourite is the Gravy Boat one. Time on Our Hands. Every time I see that, every Christmas, it cracks me up. Mixing up.
You know how you love your gravy, Uncle Albert?
Yes. Yeah.
Then he said to Bill, "Boy, do you want some?" And he said, "No, I'm trying to give it up." Brilliant. Classic.
I think you've got that prop, haven't you, somewhere, Tim? You've got the OXO, haven't you?
I made them up. I did. Hang on.
Maxwell House. Yeah, I think I've seen them. Yeah.
They're very similar, to be fair. On Albert, yeah.
Yeah, you can forgive him for that.
Maxwell House.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what the difference is. This one says OXO gravy granules. This one says Maxwell House coffee. Yeah, classic. That's it.
I was watching a TV series and it had Gary in it.
Yeah, I
he's
think
been in loads of stuff.
Yeah.
Recently, wasn't it?
BBC. My dad. Full of spoke to my dad earlier. Is it Blue Light, Emily, on BBC this week? He's in.
No, it was Time. It's got Sean Bean in it and Stephen Graham's the prison one.
Ah, I've seen that. Is he in that? I didn't even notice him in that.
Yeah, he was in that.
Yeah, he's in loads of stuff. He's had a really good career, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's his pinnacle moment, I think.
Yeah, I think he was in some kind of sci-fi thing, because we put the podcast up online on YouTube and somebody commented saying, "Oh wow, like they knew him from this show." I never heard of it myself, but I just know him as Gary.
And he was in that one with the Bombers as well. That was on a couple of years ago. The woman was one out of that police series. I can't remember what it's called now, but then she was then in the bomb squad, wasn't she? And he was in that as well. So he's been in loads of stuff.
Yes.
But Gary was perfect for him because it was just so funny, and all he said was Gary.
Yeah, one word. Genius.
Yeah, what a way to make a living.
Can you imagine all the Garys though? I bet they've been taunted since then. If your name's Gary, as soon as you walk in a room now, I bet you get that Gary, don't you, all the time?
Well, it's quite funny because when we had I remember we did the one in Bristol, the first one we ever did, and we were doing like an auction, and some guy was bidding, and when we got to the end of what his name was, he said Gary, and you could see on his face he knew what was going. So the whole room was shouting it out, and we were videoing it, and it was hysterical. Everyone was shouting it. It was brilliant.
There was a news article, wasn't there? There's going to be no Garys left soon because the last one was born in, 1990, let's say. So that's the last time someone was called Gary, I think. Weirdly, you wouldn't believe it, would you? But they said they're going to go extinct.
Not a popular name, that.
Yeah, but there's loads of names like that. I mean, I'm Tim. I mean, and that's a really old name as well. So
Yeah.
I
knew someone called Gary, and he was a good friend, and he sadly passed away. But yeah, you're right. There's not many Garys anymore, is there? Not really.
No.
But that's a brilliant episode. That's sort of my counter argument. If anybody slags off the last three, I'm like, well, you wouldn't have had that episode. I mean, that's just every time I watch that, I'm in hysterics. Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. Did you ever what was your feelings with Rock and Chips, Tim? Did you ever watch the prequel of the Rock and Chips episode?
Yeah, I did watch it, and I was gutted that he passed because he was still going to be doing more episodes. But,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't compare it to 24's Notice, but on its own, it did stand out. And of course, around Kelly Brighton, I mean, the actors in there were so good. I mean,
Phil Daniels' as granddad, he was great, wasn't he? I thought.
Yeah, it was so good. But it stands up on its own, without it, I think. Really good.
What annoyed me was I thought the last episode was the best, or the second to last, and it looked like it was going somewhere, and then obviously, sadly, John Sullivan passed.
I know.
Yeah, they'll have that in between.
So really good as well. So yeah. It just didn't have the bodies showing up for one episode on the run. They should have had that. That was the only thing they missed out on that, but contractually they probably could do it for them.
Have you been the musical, Tim?
Yeah, went in 2019. Me and Ed and a couple of other guys went, and I was under the impression that it was going to be like, really, like everyone did when he first went. And in the end, I was standing up with everyone, standing ovation, I had tears running down my face, and I was thinking, this is crazy. Why am I like this? But it was so good.
Was
so good.
I'm a bit like that. I haven't seen it yet. I might see it just before it closes.
You have to see it. You have to see it. But they're going to tour it, aren't they?
They are going to tour, are they?
Local.
I think they're going to tour it for the UK. But that's going to be. I don't know how they're going to do the logistics of it though. Because you got
be better to see it in London.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I'll try and see it. Yeah.
They could do different actors, couldn't they? They could broaden it out for different actors at different shows, couldn't they? Maybe.
Yeah, but look at the money making potential of it. So they've got to tour it, haven't they? Really, if they can get the figures right, it's a no-brainer.
Well, I think they should, because I think it's done very well, isn't it? Isn't it the longest play at that theatre ever? I think.
Not like that.
Yeah. So maybe apart from Cats was there, that would probably
Like Tim says, I saw it in 19. I've seen it twice. I saw it in 19, and that was the first year. So we're into fourth year now, I think. Yeah.
And I saw it with the original, the guy that played the original Grandad, the guy that nobody knew
from the Fast Show.
I thought it was superb.
Yeah.
Oh, was that before
White House?
Yeah, before Paul Whitehouse.
Before.
Yeah. I saw the original guy they used before Paul Whitehouse. At the time they had two, didn't they? One was filling in for the other one, and he was incredible. He looked like him. He's fantastic. I don't know what the guy's name is, but he was fantastic.
Wow.
I didn't, to be honest, I didn't go when it was Paul Whitehouse either time, so I probably saw the other guy as well myself.
Yeah, really, really good.
Me and Emily spoke to one of the Del Boys, didn't we, from the musical? That was interesting, wasn't it?
Yes, we did. It was good to talk to them.
Did they have two to play them, did they?
Sorry?
Did they have two Del Boys? Did they have two different guys to play?
I think so.
It was another Chris who we spoke to, wasn't it? I can't remember his surname, but yeah, I don't think he was the main one, but he.
Yeah, no, it's the main one.
Alternative, like.
Posters, yeah, he was really good as well. He didn't really sound like it was, or look like it, but it didn't matter. I think the best two were Trigger. The Trigger was amazing, and Boyty was amazing. You know, out of all of them, I think they were the best.
Do you know, going back to Del Boy, I don't know if you've in contact Steve Rooney a chance for you. Does he? Have you spoken to him at the conventions?
It's a bit weird because he was the original one that was going to come and do my events with me.
Okay.
And I hadn't heard from him for a long time, so I sort of messaged him and said, "What's going on?" He never got back to me, and then I think his sister was in hospital or something, and he was still up for it and everything. And also his mate who played Uncle Albert, but I can't remember what his name is now. Unfortunately he had a stroke a couple of years ago, and he's not well. He's not very well. But yeah, he was going to come, and all of a sudden I heard nothing, and I didn't hear nothing back. So I then had to panic a bit, and I got Maurice in then. So I don't know, but we saw him in 2016 at the convention we went to with Perry and that, and he was there with Uncle Albert then, and he was brilliant. So of course I contacted him. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. Something must be going on in his life. I don't know. But yeah, luckily I had Maurice, but he's retired now. He's 70 old, and I was hoping to get him for the one in Bristol, but yeah, he's retired. And he's more expensive than the bloody actors.
Oh, he's a lookalike, is he?
Lookalike, yeah.
He's been going about 20 years. He's fantastic. He is. He's the best one.
What, really, Del Boy?
Del Boy.
Del Boy, yeah.
He's not the one.
Maurice Canham, he's the one who does all the weddings now. He's really, really good. All the watches, he's really, really good.
He might have been in an episode of The Apprentice that I watched. They had to decide who they wanted. It was either they went with the David Beckham lookalike, but they could have gone with the Del Boy, and he was really good.
I'm a massive fan of The Apprentice. I don't remember that episode.
Early series.
Was it?
He sounded like him.
But there's no one doing it now. I mean, I contacted this agency, and they had this one guy, and I've seen a video from like 11 years ago, and I said, "Can you give me a more up-to-date video of the picture?"
Yeah.
And I never got him. So I was like, "Well, no, okay."
That must be hard because
that's why I went with the two actors, because the two actors are only like an extra few £100 more than what it was to have the lookalike.
Yeah,
so
wow.
It's a no-brainer, really.
It must be hard though, because if you don't look anything like them, it doesn't matter if you sound like them or you've got the mannerisms. You've got to look like them, haven't you?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and he was really good. Well, you've seen the pictures of him. He's on all the photos of my events on the pages now. But
he's really good.
He doesn't do it anymore, so he's knocking on a bit now. And like I said, all the travelling down and stuff, he said he's found it hard. So.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm trying to think of the gentleman that we had on. Remember Only Fools and Horses?
Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, do you remember the guy? I met him in person. He's a good Del Boy. Drew Cameron. Do you know him, Tim?
No, was he the ones who was doing this? It was like a 3-course meal tonight. He was doing that.
Yeah, it wasn't 3-course meal, but it was a theatre. Yeah, yeah, it was. They had to stop it in the end because it was copyright. But I think it's Del Boy. I don't think he'd have any problems, would he? Being just Del Boy, he might be up for doing something if you ever want a Del Boy there. Drew Cameron.
Yeah, because I had to. Before I went into this and set it all up, I wrote to the BBC and I asked them if there was going to be bombs. And they said, as long as I don't show it in bad light, as long as it's all good fun and everything, they didn't have any issue with it. So and I said, well, no, it's good. And I showed them all the photos and what I was going to do. And they said best of luck. So yeah, that was a nice little bit of an endorsement from the BBC,
That's good. Yeah, he does Phony Fools and Horses and Phony Towers. So he still does Faulty Towers, Phony Towers. But he was doing Phony Fools and Horses, so he'd be on stage doing different scenes.
When he took the court, they banned them, was it?
Yeah.
I have seen him. He's really good.
Yeah. He was on Britain's Got Talent years ago as well, doing stand-up. Yeah, impressions and things. Yeah, but he's good. Yeah. He'd be another one. You ever been to Liverpool, the Only Fools and Horses bar in Liverpool?
No, I was up there a few years ago, and I think it was about 6 months before it was built. But I think Ed went there on the opening night because he was living not too far from there. But we are going to go. But I don't know what it's like. You've been in there, have you?
Been all right. Yeah, I mean it's not to your standard of flat, but it's there's the flats there.
Got no drunken people in there. I mean, I know he had. I was told that when they opened it, they did have some nice stuff in there, and he got nicked to that, which is quite sad.
Yeah.
But then when people
the eagle eyes amongst as well. It's got a van in there, but it's a Rialto, which all us fans hate, don't we? Because it's got to be
Yeah.
the
Well,
model,
the thing
hasn't
is,
it?
they're not going to spend
Has
10,
to
15,
be.
they're not going to spend 10, 15 grand on a Regal and cut it in half of it. There's only
No,
half of
no.
it, minute.
I don't know the logic by they've cut it in half though. I don't get the logic. Is that because it makes it safer or something? Or
I think
No.
because it's for football opportunities. I think that's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Yeah.
why they've done that either, to be honest.
no. You can fall through the bar there as well, so that's quite good. You fall through the bar.
Yeah.
The best thing about it is the decor. That the paintings they've done, the drawings are really good on the walls. Whoever's
Yeah,
done
I
that's
saw
done
the
a
one where the
cracking
bar
job.
they've got the trigger and everything. That's really, really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it's
And
brilliant. Yeah, that is really good.
they got the flat. They got the bedroom as well.
Yeah, the bedroom, sorry, as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
the bedroom. Yeah. If you ever go up there, give us a shout.
Yeah,
Give us a shout.
well, I probably will just go there for the weekend just to go there. To be honest, I'll take the
Give us a
missus.
shout. I'll try and meet you. Yeah.
That was my little joke when I went to Eastbourne for the Only Fools and Horses event. And I went up to the bar and I was like, oh, you know, I was like, that was a good event though. Yeah, Philip Pope was there, Mike Fenton Stevens, Daniel Peacock. Yeah, really good. I got this hat at the raffle, so it was good because, believe it or not, it's signed by one of the actors, but I thought it was a lot of money. It was like 30 quid to buy it new. But I won it in the raffle for a tenner, so for a strip.
Not bad then, is
A load of other
Right.
stuff.
Yeah,
So,
when I went to the one in 2016, they didn't have the plastic ones. They had the actual proper ones.
Hmm.
And I had them.
I wouldn't have paid 30 quid for it, no. I just wanted it because it's iconic, isn't it, from the Jolly Boys outing? And yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jevon
Yeah,
signed
Dolphin
it. It's
now.
here. You see it, but yeah.
Oh, you see it, yeah, in white.
Mine
Stephen Woodcock.
Mine was signed by Paul Barber and Mickey Pierce. And then during the lockdown, I had a month where I was basically broke, and I sold a few bits off, and I sold it at the time for like 40 quid. And I'm thinking, like, afterwards, I thought, oh, what have we done that for? But it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, you've got such a big collection. I mean, it's by the
Yeah,
by, really, isn't it?
so, you know.
Oh, your flat
Quite
looks
proud.
great. I mean,
I'm quite
it's
proud. I've only been
brilliant.
doing. I only started building. I only had this built like 2 years, and I mean, all the scenery is all in the garage. And when you put it up, it's 16 foot by 16 foot by 16 foot, so it's huge. And I mean, you've seen it. You've seen the doors, and I've got the poster. You know, I got the matador on the thing, and I mean, it's I got it so good. And even the bar you fall through, I've got, you know, the pictures and the flap, and you know, and the chandelier is incredible. I mean, I'm so proud of what I've done. I mean, it's only me and my missus done it. I built it all, and I haven't done woodwork since I was 15 in school. But she did the wallpaper, and then we just put it all together, painted it all. And I think to turn it, and of course, when I first put it on there, I had all the people slating it, saying, "Oh, no, was going to go to that," and all this, that, and other. So about 6 months later, I messaged the guy privately and said, "Oh, just to let you know, we sold out Bristol, we sold out Cardiff." We've sold out the other, you know what I mean? So yeah, and he did, funny enough, he did reply back to me. But yeah, people like to knock people in this world, which is wrong, I think. You know, I mean, if I feel on money, I give it a go, and you know, it is what. You know.
It's like that guy that does the Lego figures. Have you seen him, Zaggy, online?
Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah, but people were slagging him off, and I don't know why, because he's got passion for it. He's brilliant at it. Jealous, probably.
Yeah,
Got
This
talent for it, hasn't
guy was saying to me, I can't see anybody who's going to turn up to like a DIY flat and all this. He was really, but people were jumping on my side then, and they were having to go in and saying, "Why are you being like this and stuff?" I don't know. They're just keyboard warriors, aren't they? You know?
Yeah.
People just put people down, don't they?
Yeah. Anyway, I told him I sold out, and I blocked him in, so that's quite cool.
Yeah, don't blame you. So what's the plan after the April one? Do you think you'll do another one before the end of the year, or is it a yearly
To be honest,
thing?
I don't think I'm going to do any more. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, because I run 2 other businesses, and I run a massive window cleaning business, which I've been doing for years. And I've got work. I got so much on. We're working 6 days a week. And I also DJ and I sing as well.
Do you?
Yeah, and I do a bit of buying and selling with the cars and things. I do so much stuff. I'm probably not gonna. Yeah, it takes. And also the people that help me, they're so busy with what they're doing now. They're all self-employed, and they're a lot more busy now. So yeah, unfortunately, I think this is probably going to be the last one. But Colin's doing the events anyway. We'll be to turning up. So
Colin
yeah,
Phillips,
I know we have got the flat and all this the stuff I've got, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
Sounds good in the van though, like you said. I mean,
Yeah.
that's different, you know.
yeah. You keep the tour going, I presume, Tim, will you?
Oh, it's incredible. The Bristol tour is such good fun.
You'll keep that going though, the tour, but not the other.
Well, I'll keep it going. It's also going to be loads of money for the van, and then that'll be sold as well. So
Yeah.
well, I've had it 7 years, haven't I? So you know.
What? Because I own a van as well, actually. What
Yeah.
would you say that van is worth? I know it's only worth much someone wants to pay. What would you say? What's the ballpark figure? Would you say on the van?
Well, they were one's as good as ours because mine's as good as yours, and I've had everything done to it. They were going for about a good one was about 15 grand.
Really?
But
Okay.
because of the cost of living crisis, there's not so much money about now. So I'd say they're probably dropping as good as ours. I'd say about 12. I would say 12 is a fair shout because there's one on eBay now and it needs a bit of work going to it, and he wants 11, 12 for that. But if I was to sell mine with a business and like bookings, so I got about 10 weddings coming up and everything. As a business, I would want like sort of 15 grand really.
Yeah.
You know. But as a band stand at the moment, I'd say about 12 grand. It's insured for 12 grand. So, yeah.
And, well, the thing is, with buying that van, it's only going one way, Tim. It's going to go up in value, isn't it, over the years?
Yeah, and like I said, it's only dropped because of cost of living. There's not so much money about it.
And things will change in the future, hopefully. People will have more money, and then.
And of course, when David Jason, the day which none of us want, but when he eventually, does go, then of course
Everything.
Yeah. So when
You could add
another 5 grand onto it, then.
Have you heard actually that they're putting another October event on the Society, aren't they, with David Jason? They haven't announced when it is, where it is yet, but they are putting another event on. David's agreed to do one more event.
Yeah, it's like Ed. Ed's been to 3 of them. I said, why have you? And he said, oh, and I said, with me, I did the one.
Yeah.
And I didn't need to do
You're not going to beat the first time, are you?
No.
I don't think.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. Plus, I spent a fortune. I spent about 1,400 quid that day because I bought loads of stuff there as well.
Oh, memorabilia.
I would love to meet him.
Tickets and hotel and fuel is really expensive,
Wow.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's a bucket list memory. And I had my photos done. I got him to sign the thing as well. I paid the extra for him to sign it. So
Yeah, brilliant day. Never forget that. Never forget it.
Yeah. I would love to meet him. Definitely.
So don't forget, this is going to be probably going to be the last event. So there's literally about 18 tickets left. So get on.
We need to be there, don't we? We need to be there.
We'd like to be there. Yeah, it would be good.
Bookie Street.